we look at the succession of thoughts, and a thought, which is just thought number 10, looks back and imagines that there is a chooser in the system between each thought. That chooser is just thought number 10 in between each of the thoughts.
Oh yeah!
We're here with a suggestion from one of our lovely commentators. Bob asks,
Oh, jeez.
if you're looking for some comments to
Spend some time
spend some time on Bob Ass's comments.
Yeah.
Because we appreciate you.
It's the pink tiger.
Pink tiger.
That's the icon.
Pink background.
You know it. You love
White
it.
tiger. Everyone does.
If you've been in the comments section, you know who Bob Ass is. Yeah,
Anyway, he sent this video a few weeks ago, and it caught our eye from a new teacher called Rupert Spira.
Rupert.
Yeah, he's got that Eckhart Tolle, like, I'm just gonna chill here in a sweater vibe.
Yeah, sit with my, sit looking all peaceful, like.
But the question is,
Such an Eckhart Tolle vibe, yeah.
do we choose our thoughts? Shall we?
I mean, no.
All right.
So let's go.
I'm having trouble reconciling the notion of free will with the way you describe thought, which I'm going back to the conversation you had with Angela a few days back when she was talking about feeling like there was a controller and a director kind of entity. And at some point in that conversation you said that we don't control our thoughts, they're simply things that arise in our awareness.
With all of these teachers, just look at the laser focus.
Love it. Yeah.
Like,
That's also what I was
I feel like that's
thinking.
the first thing you notice, at least in video format, of these.
Look at this man's. Look at this shit.
Today we had a bunch of spices in the kitchen that needed to be organized, and we had because we moved in here from a few different apartments and there were already a few spices here.
Yeah.
We needed to combine a bunch of
A
spices.
lot of spices here, not a few.
Yeah, a lot
lot.
of spices. So I spent the whole morning putting spices together, and now you can see that this is all every spice you could imagine.
It's also
right here.
the combo of that and it's totally ripped
How
open.
raggedy it is.
It's I love how raggedy it is. Yeah. That's awesome.
Anyway,
Yeah.
focus.
Right.
I'm having trouble because it seems like sort of the decision to come to a retreat or to follow our thoughts inward instead of out to objects,
The abyss.
our thoughts themselves, and they seem to be kind of decisional.
Yes.
It has such a quality of a
It's a good yes.
decision making, and I just don't see how.
The pressure, it's the tension's building. It's just, he hasn't spoken yet, but it's or it might just, I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Bob, if this is bad, it's all your fault.
You're out.
If we don't understand, if
outta here.
we don't understand it, yeah.
Yeah, you're out of here, man. Don't even think about coming back and making your really nice comments or anything like that. Don't do it. Don't you dare.
It seems like the enlightened duality you speak of is like awareness, and then just thoughts that we don't have much control over. I wonder how we manage to direct our lives with that view.
So when you say we don't have much control over our thoughts, where is the we, the I in the system? So
What is this accent?
Were you listening to what he was saying?
I honestly was taken just by the vibrato, the vibration of his voice.
He just said exactly what the wet hair thought of the other day was.
Oh, what was it?
His first thing.
Jesus
Christ!
I was fully in the vibration of his voice.
We're gonna rewind it. Sorry. I'm sure you picked up on all that.
So, when you say we don't have much control over our thoughts, where is the we, the I in the system? So now your experience is thoughts, images, feelings, sensations, and perceptions. Yeah? And you are aware of all of those.
Yes.
Now, where is the I in your experience that is orchestrating all of those?
I can't localize one.
Can you even find an unlocal one?
There it is. No.
I mean, take a thought. You're
Before we go into this,
I like that follow-up.
I like
Find an unlocal.
yeah. How this relates to what we were talking about the other day was the taking ownership over yourself thing of people often say, myself included, when referring to society, we'll say we, in terms of
That's good.
yeah, we'll do like people. I'm just gonna refer to
We'll say we.
I will oftentimes say, and I notice other people around me saying, we as a society do X. And even if you're saying it in a sarcastic tone, as if like to make it clear to the other person that you're not in support of that, you're still saying we as a society do X. And that is just perpetuating the doing of X, even if you're against it. Whatever.
And lumping yourself in with the we that's doing it.
Precisely, yeah.
So you've already identified with something just in the way you speak it.
Crazy. Yeah, words have been really crazy for me. It's like I can't get any words out without doing jiddu on myself. Just like, stupid!
Yeah.
Like, I'll like... I'm just like at the point where I'm just seeing right through all the words I'm saying, and they just seem dumb.
It's crazy because they're like I love thinking about words as spells in the way that they
Yes.
like affect other people.
Crazy, yeah.
But it's wild because really all you're trying to do with words is like get an intention across.
Yes.
Or something.
Yes.
But there are so many things that express your intention that I don't know. I heard this watching some other video the other day of like what you really need to pay attention to, or how I've interpreted this statement. What you really need to pay attention to is your intention and attention. And if you're getting mastery over those two, all of a sudden your energy is going to be very focused. Not all of a sudden, as time goes and you work on those things.
Or
it's
all of a
almost
sudden.
like that's maybe. It's almost like attention plus intention is like direction of energy.
So it's the energy we're looking for behind the words.
Because what is a word but a vibration?
Yeah.
Energy.
Very good. That's some stuff to think on.
I like where we're going on this though.
Yeah, what he's talking about is bringing up the who's we.
Yeah. You have all these perceptions and stuff.
Yeah,
Who's the I?
right. And
I'm
who's
curious.
the we? We're headed in the right direction. Bob.
you because you mentioned the decision to come on a retreat, for instance. You come home from work, you cook dinner, you sit down, and the thought appears to you, oh, I wonder if Rupert's got a retreat on. Just out of the blue it appears to you. Did you choose that thought? Was there someone or something in the system that selected to have that thought rather than let's watch a movie?
This is good. This is very
No, yeah, when you break it down to individual thoughts.
Yeah. Okay, so then the thought, I wonder if there's a retreat on soon, appears to you. Now, the next thought could be, let's say just give it two possibilities. The next thought could be, oh, let's go and have a look. Let's check Rupert's website out. Or the next thought could be, oh, I'll look later, let's watch a movie. Now, do you have any control over which of those two thoughts appears?
It feels like I'm controlling
Okay,
them.
perfect. Now, in between the two thoughts, the first thought after dinner was, I wonder if there's a retreat on. Yeah? The second thought, the next thought, it's slightly simplistic, this picture, but you understand. The second thought was, oh, I'll look later. Let's watch a movie. Or, I'll go and check it out now. So you're suggesting that in between those two thoughts, something was present which chose the second thought. What was that? What is your experience of this something, the chooser, between the appearance of those two thoughts, which controlled which the second thought was?
Whoa. This is one of those things that, because I feel like it's really easy to say, you can very easily say, oh, I was the one who came up with these ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's really easy to say, like, God came up with these ideas, and I'm just like a vessel for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I have not come to any sort of answer in that, because I just don't know. But these questions are like pretty freaky.
Yes. Yeah, where this just brought me to, because I agree. It feels like there isn't something quite right about either of those. Like something outside, like God came down to me, gave me this mission, like presented me with all of this. Also, I'm the one, I did it all. But it feels like you could marry those two.
Which is interesting that he's almost so far being like, that first thought popped into your head. But then the second thought felt intentional in some way. But I'm interested.
Intriguing.
I'm interested.
I don't have an experience of a chooser in between thoughts. It just seems that a series of thoughts, in retrospect, you can look at them and they seem to go in a direction, like you can decide to ponder something.
Exactly. In retrospect, we look at the succession of thoughts, and a thought, which is just thought number 10, looks back and imagines that there is a chooser in the system between each thought. That chooser is just thought number 10. It's not actually there in between each of the thoughts.
Oh yeah! Bob!
Oh no.
Come on!
Oh no.
Come on. We are watching this for me. I had a great time. Because I don't know, if you watch all of our videos, you'll probably know I've mentioned this last week and a half or so has been my grapple with becoming more aware of my thoughts, or my thoughts have just come up. And it's just been there have been certain points in my days where thoughts just feel consuming more than they usually are. And that has been quite something, let me tell you.
Yeah, it brings me back to that Jiddu line where he's like, when you are doing a meditation and you use a thought like go back to the breath to control your other thoughts. It's like that one thought is putting judgment on the rest of your thoughts.
Yes.
And like reflecting on them.
Happens. I've been noticing that so often. There'll be a train of a bunch of thoughts and it's like I'm not even there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm there. I'm like, whoa, I was just thinking for so long. Backtrack. But like, it helps if I can like go, whoa, and not do the next step. Whoa, I've been thinking for so long, backtrack. Like if you could say, whoa, like that's
hey,
it's about the best you can do, because then
just chill out after you say
just realizing that, like, if you can, instead of, you know, looping it back, and that's more thoughts, if you could just chop, like if you can, you know, like a knife, like just go ching, and then you're done. It's like that's the best you can do, because you can't do anything about what you were just thinking. Yeah. And
then one thing that happens with me is when I have a chain of thoughts, it's often because I'm like debating with someone or like contemplating something in my head.
It's the worst.
And then when you get to the last one, you're like, whoa, that was a weird debate. Where did I go wrong? Or like what were like the things I could have done better?
Mind is mischievous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. I want to see where he goes with this because now we know that the last thought is reviewing the chain of thoughts, but
yes.
Notion of a chooser is a thought.
What I mean is the chooser itself is not there in between each thought, choosing each time between a range of possibilities, and I'll have that thought next, and then I'll have this thought. That chooser is not there. The notion of a chooser is simply itself a thought, which, as you say, appears retrospectively. The thought says, I was there in between each thought, choosing it. It's the clown that takes the bow. It wasn't actually present, but it claims responsibility afterwards.
I just love that line. It's the clown that takes the bow.
Yeah. That's incredible that maybe that's why you end up feeling bad for the thoughts that you've been having, because you place I between each thought after them. And then you're like, well, I'm a terrible person for thinking that. You know, or you're like self-judging yourself because you think that you chose all those thoughts, but subconsciously.
And it's almost like that is where some power is going to come to you, because if you are the thing choosing all of those thoughts that aren't nice or whatever, like violent thoughts or like lustful thoughts, whatever it is, things that are just like really pulling you away from now. If you're identified with all that, that's you. But if you are seeing those as simply thoughts, it becomes like, oh, that's kind of like a weird thing. But you don't need to like take damage from that, you know? You don't need to act on those thoughts.
Yeah, the best, sometimes it just can't come to me, but the best is when you realize the chain of thoughts, you realize how crazy it was, and you just laugh. You're just like, that was the silliest thing that's ever happened. I think that was so very silly. And then then you get a little bit distance from it right when you laugh. Or like right when you say, I remember one time you were talking about, this is stuck with me, you were talking about how you were stuck, I don't remember when it was, but you were really stuck in one, and then all of a sudden you were just like, well, that was a lot of drama.
Oh, yeah.
It's a similar thing. It's like the laugh at the end, the chop. You know, how can you chop that right when you recognize it?
I'm just imagining one of those like things in movies that comes out. It's like, scene. Next.
Yeah. Get that one out of here. We don't need any more of that.
So
very good.
we have to make a clear distinction between what is actually something quite subtle. There is a choosing thought, but there is no chooser. There is a thought that says, I'd rather have tea than coffee. That thought contains a choice between two drinks, but there is nobody there choosing that thought. The choice is the thought. There is no chooser of the thought.
Okay.
The separate self is always the one in between. It's like a filler thought that is either considered to be the initiator of our actions and thoughts, choices, etc., or the subsequent enjoyer of them. It's never present in the actual thought itself. It's imagined in between. It's like a filler. The I thought is like a filler that seems to be both the initiator of our actions and that's prior to the action, and the enjoyer of it after the action.
That just brought something interesting up.
Okay.
That back when I was smoking a decent amount of weed,
He means marijuana. Just in case you want to call the cops.
Call the cops, please. So as I started to like feel really foggy the next day after it, I started to really try to do it. When I was doing it, I tried to do it more consciously and be like, what about this is really good or bad for me? What do I like about it? What do I not like about it? Mm-hmm. And what I noticed, I think I have this written down somewhere, is that the thing that would change, while high or drunk, whatever, was the in-between time of not feeling fully there, or like having it was almost like whenever I was on autopilot, those times would feel lighter. But then whenever I was drinking or smoking, whatever it is, there'd be times like during it where I would just like have a snap back to almost like soberness or whatever.
Okay.
But then I realized that it wasn't the soberness I was snapping back to. It was some sort of like type of thought or something that was very normal to my sober times. And yeah, it was almost like this blurredness of the space between that would make it very comfortable, because I could just kind of like forget about those things more easily. But it almost is sounding like a lot of like consciousness is almost that space between.
Ooh.
And that like a purely conscious state is like a serious state of no thought, or just like full there-ness.
Then that makes you think about reflection. Does reflection have any space in the space that we want to move to?
Like reflecting on the past.
Yeah. Reflecting on your thoughts, reflecting on, this is a big one, reflecting on trauma or emotional baggage. Is the reflection bringing it back? Because that's so contrary to everything I ever heard growing up. Is like, if you have stuff, you need to work through it.
You need to dive into it.
You need to dive into it and work through it so that you can somehow get through it. It's like very funny when you... But from my experience, it's the chop that makes it irrelevant. All of those things. Like completely irrelevant. Not the... Wow, look at those thoughts. Look at this, like, look at how bad I was feeling yesterday.
It's like pain I went through.
That never gets you out of it. That will maybe provide you with a mental concept of a resolution in your mind, but then the thing will come back and it'll feel just as bad, and you have to go through that whole process once more.
Wow.
Instead of the chop happens again, chop, and then it's just like eventually just is meaningless. Because that's just something from my experience, is that reflection. I used to be big reflector, big reflection guy. Like I would go out in the woods all the time, even when I started meditating more diligently, and that's what I would do. I would just sit and reflect on life. You know, like when you're in the shower and you feel like your thoughts are a little bit clearer. I don't know if that's like, I think that's, yeah. You just feel like you can see things a little bit clearer. At least I always noticed that. That was like me when I'd go meditate. Like I could see my life clearly. I knew what decisions I liked, which ones I don't like, and I would go through all of them. And it would make me feel better, but there was no regular progression. It was like you needed that every time, you know, instead of those things stopped bothering me. You know?
Yeah, and like how much freedom do you have if you always need to first take care of all of those things
exactly
before you can enjoy? And then often when you're like enjoying life, something will trigger back to those thoughts and be like, oh, this is that situation, I need to act in this way. But then how often do you actually act on that way that you're saying? But this is also, I'm interested in where he's going with this, because he's saying that there is no chooser. It is simply the thought that has the choice within it. So then it's like, do you have preferences as a thing? Or are you like completely free to just see all these thoughts with the choices in them and be like, yeah, that one. But if not, just wait on it. Let the next guy come. Let the next choice come.
Yeah.